Got it. Okay, there we go. We had a couple of parents who couldn't be with us tonight, so they asked to make sure it was recorded. I will send out an email tomorrow with a link to the recording of this webinar. Okay, so as far as going into COVID, going into remote learning, we're pretty proud of the fact that at Bronx River, our teachers did a tremendous job with their Google Classrooms and outreach to kids and making sure that kids knew where to go and how to log in and what assignments they had. We had all of our support people transition to being what I called student champions, where they had a group of kids that they were responsible for making sure that they were logging in and knew what to do. And it paid off. We had a really high interaction rate and a really high success rate. Graduation rate for the class of 2020. Our graduation rate that year was 79%. This was 2 years ago. So if you were to look at the school quality snapshot, the school quality guide, that's the data that's out now. This chart shows you in yellow what was the Bronx River graduation rate of 79, what was the Bronx average, which is in blue, and what was the state average, which was in orange. So as you can see, we were significantly higher than the Bronx average and just slightly lower than the state average of 82%. So we have always had a really strong graduation rate at Bronx River, and we're pretty proud of that. The new data for the school quality guide and the school quality snapshot was just released to principals this week. It's usually released in December. So you guys will be able to see the data from the 2021 school year sometime around December. But I can tell you, since I have that data, for the class of 2021, our graduation rate was 84.6%. So that is super good. Like I said, state average is usually 82%. This will probably be presented on the school quality guide rounded up to 85. So it'll be significantly higher than the state average. And again, we're super proud of that. One last thing from a data perspective that I want to show you guys is this is what's called a program demand analysis. This is how many kids are putting Bronx River on their high school selection each year. And this is something that's very important to me because this tells me, do we have a good reputation? Do parents in the community say to each other, Bronx River is a good option for your kids? That to me really is the most important of all the data elements. So if you look at this, we are looking at Lehman campus, Stevenson campus, Evander, and Columbus for the big high school, multi-school campuses in our area of the Bronx. And this shows you how many seats we had available and how many people applied for the last 3 years. And as you can see, the increase or decrease over the last 2 years, Bronx River High School has had the biggest increase of all of these campuses in total, 94.33%. We had 1,576 kids choose us to come in as a freshman during the 2021 school year. Again, that's the highest number out of the entire Bronx. The last thing I want to just point out is when your school has a good reputation and kids are choosing you as an option in their high school choice application, they will, if you have a demand, then you are what's called have all of your seats filled in the first round, meaning at Bronx River, we have 108 seats for every freshman class. As you can see highlighted in blue, we were filled in the first round. So if someone were to come into New York City now and say, I'd like I need a high school, can I go to Bronx River? Enrollment would say, no, they're filled, there's no seats available. As you can see, we were one of only 2 schools on the Lehman campus that were filled last year. Nobody in Stevenson, nobody on Evander, and a few of the schools on Columbus. So that's another really important data element for me because I feel that when we have kids that are with us from day one freshman year till graduation, we do great things. So I'm really proud of the fact that, the community believes in our school because the demand is there. And for the class of 2025, we had 1,673 students put us on their first round choice. So we're Super happy about that. All right, so that's a little bit about Bronx River over the last year and a half as we went into COVID. Let's talk about the safety and health protocols that are in place now at the DOE, because I'm sure that's what you guys are most interested in. So I'm gonna just go out to the internet and I'm gonna show you guys how to get to the health and safety guide that the chancellor just released yesterday. So if you go to the DOE website, schools.nyc.gov, obviously there's a lot of information on the main page, a lot of back to school. There is a back to school family forum in each borough that is happening this week. You're also invited to attend that. The Bronx Forum with the chancellor and the executive superintendent is this Thursday. I will be the panelist representing Bronx high schools on that forum with the chancellor. So that is another area where you can ask questions. You can actually submit questions in advance to the chancellor and she'll be answering them on that forum on Thursday. But I'm gonna go down here where it says safe and healthy learning for all. And it says get the homecoming health and safety guide. And I'm gonna click on that. It's available in English, Spanish, Chinese, Bengali, Russian, Urdu, Arabic, Haitian, Creole, Korean, and French. For tonight, I'm going to click on the English version.
If you check, you can't see the website. We only see the slideshow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right. Let me stop sharing for a second and try to reshare. Now, can you see it?
Yes.
You know, I think I need to like share all as opposed to just sharing one thing. So should I go back and do that whole thing over with the website?
Yes, I would.
All right, so let me do this one more time. I'm going to go to share screen. Now I'm going to share, what am I going to share? Can I share all?
Can you share your whole screen?
Let me
Share your
see.
screen instead of tab.
Does that work?
Yes.
All right, so let me go back to Google Chrome. Let me go back to, you can see this website now?
Yep.
Schools.nyc.gov.
Yep, we see it.
All right, so this is the main web page for the DOE, schools.nyc.gov. I'm going to go down here to where it says safe and healthy learning for all. It says get the homecoming health and safety guide. I click on it. You can see that it says here homecoming health and safety guide. It shows you all the different language it comes in, and I'm going to click on English. Okay. Do you now see the guide that says our commitment to your health and safety? So yes. All right.
Yeah, we can see
So
it.
this was published yesterday. This is from our chancellor, Chancellor Porter. And I'm just going to go through this and I'm going to talk about how this is specific to Bronx River. Okay. So number one, before the school year starts, obviously what the DOE is recommending is getting your children vaccinated if they're 12 and older, and also submitting consent for COVID testing in school. Okay. So obviously, as I'm sure you guys are aware, the Pfizer vaccine is now approved for students 12 and older. You can go to vaccinefinder.nyc.gov and you can find a location to get your child vaccinated if you choose to do that. I'm sure you're all familiar with that. If not, you can call this number here and arrange. I think they'll even come to the home and do vaccinations. But obviously what the DOE is recommending is that we do try to get all children who are 12 and over vaccinated. As of right now, they have not mandated vaccine for all students, but they have mandated the vaccine for students who are going to play high-risk sports on PSAL. So as you can see right here, it says COVID-19 vaccines will be required for DOE and staff participating in the public school athletic league high-risk sports. Those sports are football, volleyball, basketball, wrestling, lacrosse, stunt, and rugby. And it's also going to include bowling because that takes place in a side location that requires vaccination. Okay, so if your child or if any of our students who are on the call who know that they want to play those sports, you will be required to have a vaccination in order to play those sports. Okay, and again, you must have that your first dose by the first day of competitive play, which varies by sports. Okay. Again, you can go to the school's website and click on PSAL if you want more information about that. It's also important that you provide consent for COVID-19 testing. So just like last year when blended learning returned in the spring, and just like summer school this summer, any students who are unvaccinated will be required to have random COVID-19 testing. So like I said, last year when we returned in the spring, we had random COVID testing. They were in our school once per week, and we had to test about 20% of our students and staff. So every week we went, they set up in the cafeteria and we went down and they did the COVID tests and we would get the results the next day. Same thing in summer school. We had 20% of our summer school kids tested every single week. We would get the results the next day. I can tell you that so far, out of all of that testing, Bronx River has had no positive results, but there have been other positive results in our campus. So, you know, that certainly is a possibility. So, vaccination for employees. All DOE employees, including school-based staff, school aides, community associates, parent coordinators, teachers, principals, assistant principals, we are all required to get vaccinated. Okay, we have to have at least one dose by September 27th. I was vaccinated back in January, so I'm almost ready to get the booster if they offer that. But all DOE employees do have to get vaccinated. They just announced that, I would say, about 2 weeks ago. Okay. And as I said, the DOE is strongly encouraging vaccination for all students that are 12 and over. Okay. No matter what, if you are vaccinated or unvaccinated, you're still going to have to complete a health screening in order to enter any Department of Education building. So if your child was blended learning last year or they attended Summer Rising, they're aware of this, but there is a health screening and you have to submit it each day. It's going to ask questions about your health and how you're feeling. Gisela, Miss Morel, can you give me a thumbs up if you see the health screening? Okay, so this is what it looks like. For those of you that have been remote this whole year, I'll show you what this looks like because you haven't seen it. So a student is going to sign in as guest. They can say, I'm a student, and I'm going to call this Joe Test, and they're going to use their Bronx River email. Okay, Bronx River. My computer is slow. Hold on. hs.org. So, and it's going to ask what facility are you going to? And they're going to type Bronx River. Click on it, 4th floor, and they're going to fill out the screening. And it's going to ask you, have you experienced any symptoms of COVID-19, including a fever over 100 degrees, a new cough, a new loss of taste or smell, or shortness of breath that started in the last 10 days? So you can either answer no, or you can answer yes, and I have received a lab confirmed negative result of COVID-19, and I've not had symptoms for 24 hours. So if you click no, it moves on to the next question. If you click yes, it's going to move on to the next question. If you click yes, I am not in the category above, meaning you have symptoms, you don't have a negative test, and you have symptoms currently, when you click yes, it's going to say you cannot enter a DOE building and you must stay home. If you click one of the others, it'll move on to the next question. The next question is, in the past 10 days, have you gotten a lab confirmed positive result from COVID-19 diagnostic test? That was your first positive or was after 90 days from your previous diagnosis date. Okay, and please note the 10 days is measured from the day you were tested, not the day you got the test result. So if you haven't been tested positive, you click no. Are you considered fully vaccinated by CDC guidelines, right? You can click no, or you can click yes, I'm fully vaccinated. For me, I click yes every day. I submit my screening, and it says that I'm cleared to enter DOE schools for today. And then it ends at midnight, and anything after midnight, you got to take it again for the next day. Okay? So that's what it looks like. Now, most kids do this on their phone, especially our kids that came last year, blended learning, they got used to it. We have QR codes outside the main entrance. They scan it with their phone, it pops up, they do the survey. Or many of the kids saved it as a shortcut on their home screen, and they just do it as they're walking in. If they don't have a phone or they don't want to do it on the phone, we always have paper copies and pencils at the main for students to use. But all people entering DOE buildings, students, teachers, or staff, have to fill out that test. Okay? Whoops. So let me go back to Ms. Moreira. You're the face I see. So am I back on the guide now? Do you see that? Okay, great. So that's the health screening. Face coverings and personal protective equipment. All students and staff must wear a face covering when they're in the building or on the bus. Okay, as I'm sure you're aware, that was a New York statewide mandate as per our new governor last week. Governor Hochul announced that it will be a statewide mandate that in schools that students and staff wear a mask. All right, so please ensure that your student have masks. You know, we have been given a supply of personal protective equipment, masks, and so forth. And last year it really wasn't an issue. Kids came in every day with masks and had them. I would say over summer school, we started getting into some situations where a couple of students would show up each day without a mask and were given a mask each day. Our supply of masks is definitely running low. We're waiting for some more to be supplied from Central, but I really want to reiterate to all of you, students and family members, please ensure that your student has a mask that they like, that they fits comfortably for them, because they will be wearing a mask for the majority of the day. Okay? If you have a medical reason, then you can provide that to the DOE, and they will take that into consideration. During lunchtime, masks may be removed so students can eat comfortably at a safe distance from one another. All Bronx River have lunch at the same time. The capacity of our cafeteria is 600. We are about 400 on any given day. We have every other seat marked, so there's an X every other seat. We are going to ask students to sit every other seat at the cafeteria tables, take their mask off as they're eating, put their mask back on when lunch is over to travel back up to our space. Okay? Hand sanitizer in every classroom. As of last year, they mounted hand sanitizer next to each door so students can sanitize their hands as they walk into each classroom. Additionally, we have sanitizing wipes at the front of each room by each door. Additionally, there are 2 air purifiers in every room, one by the front door and one by the back of the room. Those are air purifiers that circulate the air within the room and are able to, take out COVID from the air, okay? So those are in the rooms as well. As many of you know, especially our upperclassmen parents, you know that at Bronx River, we have some rooms that have windows and AC units in the window, and we have some rooms that are interior rooms that have no windows and run off an HVAC system in the building. All of the interior rooms that run off the HVAC system in the building The building did get what's called the MERV 13 filters. So back when COVID first came out and they were talking about ventilation, you had to get a certain filter that was rated at a certain level in order for it to filter out COVID particles. And that was called MERV 13 or higher. The DOE did replace MERV 13 filters in all DOE buildings, including the Lehman campus. So we have the MERV 13 filters in the interior rooms with no windows. And of course, in our exterior rooms with windows, we can open the windows in order to have fresh air circulate in the rooms. Okay. Physical distancing in schools. Physical distancing is another part of the multi-layered strategy to keep our school communities safe. Center for Disease Control and Prevention recommends schools maintain at least 3 feet of physical distance between students within classrooms to reduce transition risk. So all principals in the DOE were given a capacity of the number of people that could be in each classroom. Back when COVID first happened a year ago, it was 6 foot social distancing. So we had a capacity numbers at 6 foot. And then when the CDC revised it to 3 feet, we were given the 3 feet capacity numbers for each room at Bronx River. We are fully programmed for this upcoming year now, and I am happy to say that every class is within the 3 feet social distancing guidelines. You guys may have heard in the news and stuff that, you know, there was questions as to whether schools could even accommodate the number of kids with 3 feet social distancing. At Bronx River, we are, and we are for a few reasons. One is, even though I am scheduled as a 4-section school, right? Bronx River, as a small school, was established where we were supposed to have 108 students per grade. That is 4 classes of 27 per grade. 108 times 4 is 432 students. That's what Bronx River is supposed to be. That's what my budget is based on, hiring enough teachers to do 4 sections per grade level in the school. But I will tell you that at Bronx River, we do a really good job with our budget, and we really focus on having that money go towards teachers and teacher salaries and making our classroom sizes smaller. We did that even before COVID. So in 9th grade, for the last 3 years, we've had 5 sections of 9th grade classes. And this year we moved to 5 sections of 10th grade classes as well. So in all of our 9th and 10th grade classes, class sizes are only around 24 kids in a section. Which puts us well within the 3 feet physical distancing, and just gives us smaller class sizes, which means your children and our students get more attention. So we're pretty happy about that. Okay, so I want you guys to know we are within the 3 feet social distancing at all classes at Bronx River. All right. Ventilation, I discussed about the MERV 13 filters and having both the indoor inside rooms and the exterior rooms. You can go to the DOE website and you can search on Bronx River High School. You can search on any high school, but you can search on Bronx River. And when Bronx River comes up, it'll say like my information, the superintendent information, but there is a section now that says ventilation, and you can look and it gives you a report of every room in the building and whether it's got the past the ventilation stringency or not. So at Bronx River, every one of our rooms has, every one of our instructional rooms. So if you go to that search and do it, you will see that all of our classrooms are in place. Cleaning, as you know, it says all classrooms and common areas will have hand sanitizer and disinfectant wipes, like I said, and high touch areas such as doorknobs and water fountains will be cleaned multiple times throughout the day. And each classroom will be deep cleaned and disinfected daily using electrostatic technology. So our custodians at the building have the backpack devices. They come in and they spray every night. I have to tell you, I don't keep the neatest desk in my office, and a lot of times there are papers on my desk, and I quickly realized when COVID first happened and we came back to the school, I would come in and I'd say, why are all my papers curled up and like crunchy and stuff now? Like, then I realized it's because when they spray that stuff, the disinfectant, it makes all the papers, curl up and get crunchy. So now I have to keep a clean desk, no matter what. So they are doing that every day. I'm doing the deep clean. Okay. COVID testing in schools. We did talk about this, but I'll reiterate it. Regular COVID-19 testing is going to occur in the school for both staff and students. Every school will have 10% of unvaccinated individuals who have submitted consent for testing in their school population tested bi-weekly. So that means every 2 weeks now, okay? 10% every 2 weeks. This way, if there's a positive case, action can be taken right away. It's important that you provide consent for your child to participate in the in-school testing program, and you can fill out that form from your New York City schools account or download the form from the website. So Miss Marrero is our parent coordinator. She's on the line here. If you have not set up your New York City schools account, you can reach out to Miss Marrero because you will need a code, an access code, which we can provide you. But you should set up your New York City school account as a parent so that you can do these things there. Unfortunately, Miss Marrero is in college. She is going to become a counselor, and she is leaving us after 6 years this Friday. So if you need to set up your school account, do it real quick, like tomorrow or Thursday, because it's gonna be difficult after Miss Marrero leaves us on Friday. Which does remind me that I do want to let all of you know that we will be posting for a parent coordinator position at Bronx River. Currently, we are able to hire new staff into the DOE. So if anyone is interested or knows someone who would be interested for a parent coordinator position, please reach out to me directly. You guys have my email because we will be starting to interview for parent coordinators shortly. But if you haven't got your New York City school account, please reach out to her. All right, so let's get to kind of the last little bit here, which is what happens with positive cases of COVID-19 in the schools. They have revised this, so I'm going to go down to where it says middle and high schools, okay? I don't know if anyone on the call had a student in blended learning with us last year, but if you recall, when we opened school in October, we had two positive cases in the building. One was in the custodian department before school even opened, and then we had one positive case like the second day after school opened. And because it was two positive cases in the building within 7 days, they shut the whole building down for 10 days. So we opened, we were there like a day, and then we had to shut down for another 10, and then we reopened in November or October. That is not going to happen anymore. So what the DOE has said is in middle and high schools, if there is a positive case in a classroom, any student who is at least 12 years old, vaccinated, and not showing symptoms will continue to attend school in person, okay? These students are encouraged to take a COVID test 3 to 5 days after exposure, but they're not going to be required to quarantine. If your student is at least 12 years old, vaccinated, but is showing symptoms, shortness of breath, loss of taste and smell, all that, they will be directed to quarantine for 10 days. Right? Because if you're vaccinated and you're showing symptoms, they're going to assume that you have COVID. So they're going to be directed to quarantine for 10 days. Notice it says these students will have access to remote learning while quarantining. I do want to caution all of you that we as principals have not received final guidance as to what happens when a kid is quarantined. there, as you have heard on the news, there is no remote option this year. So none of my teachers are expected to teach on a computer live synchronous instruction at all. We are teaching in person like we were before. What I believe will happen is each teacher will have a Google Classroom where there will be asynchronous assignments that a child can do if they're quarantined. But again, I just want to be clear, we don't have guidance as of yet. We're told it will be forthcoming in the next few days as to what the instruction would look like for a child if they had to quarantine. But I can tell you now, it's not going to be live instruction by Bronx River teachers. If anything, and it's done by Bronx River, it will be asynchronous, meaning assignments posted in a Google Classroom. The child will need to log on independently, watch a video, do the work, et cetera, et cetera. Okay?
Yes, Greg, can I jump in? So we met
Yep.
with the instructional leadership team today, and what was discussed was still having the Google Classroom component. But like Mr. Fuchek said, it would not be a live teacher. There would just be the work posted so that students can still access that.
Correct. Okay. And then lastly, if an unvaccinated student is exposed by someone testing positive in their classroom, they will be directed to quarantine for 10 days. These students, again, will learn remotely, just like as Ms. Malloy just described. On day 5 of their quarantine, they may take a COVID test, and if it's negative, they can return to school after day 7. That's an unvaccinated student, okay? So that's what the DOE is telling us is gonna happen if there are positive cases. All right, I think this is the last thing I wanted to go over with this guide, which is, as I've said, the DOE has said to us and to you and publicly, and the chancellor has been on the news, that there is no remote option this fall, right? Nobody has the option to say, hey, I don't feel comfortable, my child's gonna stay at home and I want them to receive instruction through the internet. That's not gonna happen. But we have always had what's called home instruction in the DOE for years. So if I had a child who wound up getting cancer and was home receiving therapy for 6 months, they would have a teacher come to their home and do 2 hours of instruction in their home. That's called home instruction. So the DOE is saying that they will expand home instruction for any students who have the following disorders that can then qualify for home instruction. And obviously that's things like active cancer, chronic renal disease, which is kidney disease, sickle cell, Crohn's disease, leukemia, heart conditions, multiple dystrophy, cystic fibrosis, liver disease, etc. So if you have a child that you think medically qualifies for home instruction, please reach out to one of the counselors, myself, Ms. Malloy, or Ms. Kelly, and we'll help you with trying to, manage that process to ask for home instruction. But I just want to be clear, home instruction is not, a regular school. It's a traveling teacher that usually spends about 2 hours in the home and does a few courses with your child. That is typically what home instruction is. So again, if you need that, let us know. There's also a website, homeinstructionatschools.com, where you can get more information about that. All right. So that is everything in the Chancellor's Health and Safety Guide. I can say that, Bronx River is doing everything according to this guide. We have some of our teachers are on the call tonight as well as my assistant principals, Ms. Marrero, et cetera. So all of those things are in place at Bronx River. I feel very confident in welcoming your students back. I miss them. I miss our school. I miss our school community. We've had homecoming days over the summer for all grade levels, where we invited all of our kids to come back and tour the building and see their teachers. We, all the kids gave us great feedback and said that they loved coming and loved seeing their classmates and were ready to come back. I mean, I certainly hope that's how you feel and how most of us feel. But we're doing everything that we can to be in line with the chancellor's guidance regarding COVID. And we look forward to being in class with your kids. So now I'll open it up for questions regarding health and safety. I don't know if Miss Kelly or Miss Malloy will want to monitor the chat, and feel free to unmute yourself if you have questions. Hopefully I can answer them. I'll be honest with you, I kind of hear things the same time you do through the media, but in any case, any questions that anybody has about health and safety right now?
So there are a lot of questions in the chat. It looks like most of them have been answered, but if we missed your question, please feel free to ask it again or put it back in the chat so we can get to it. Right now, one of the questions, the website is not, the vaccine website or the portal website is giving people an error message. So I'm gonna look into that.
Hi, this is Lakeisha Hickson. I don't have a question, but I just wanted to thank you, Mr. Fuchek, and your staff for just keeping us well informed throughout this pandemic. These town halls have been very helpful to me as a parent and just keeping us informed about what's going on in our school. My son is very excited to start his senior year.
Thank you. We can't wait. I hope it's a good senior year. I really do. I hope we can do our senior trips, our overnight trip, all that stuff that we've always done. I really want to do it. And I feel so bad for you parents, especially parents of kids, you know, that are going into their senior year. My youngest son just finished his first year of college. So his senior year of high school was last year when COVID first hit. And his high school had done away with the junior prom like 10 years ago. So they didn't have a senior prom. So he basically has never had a prom in his life. They had no graduation ceremony. It was just terrible. It's a terrible experience for these kids. So I hope that we can get back to doing some of those things that make the community and the school and especially senior year so much fun.
I hope so, Mr. Fuchek. My son is Corey, and he says that you're very cool, so that you'll give him a prom.
All right, I'll try. Any other questions, Meg or Tanae?
Yes, so some questions are, will teachers be transferring from classroom to classroom this year?
No, so that's a great question. So when we first started with COVID last year, when we first reopened, it was the pod scenario, right? It was the 6-foot social distancing. We only had about 10 kids in a classroom, and the kids stayed in the room all day and the teachers went in and out. Okay, that was the whole blended learning thing. That was where we had more than 50% of our school in remote. Of the 50% that did come in, some came in on A days, some came in on B days, so that we could have those super small pods and the kids not move. That is not possible anymore with having the entire school community come back and be in school 5 days a week. So it is smaller class sizes, as I mentioned, but the kids are still transitioning. When the bell rings, they're going to another classroom with another teacher. And there could be different kids in that classroom than what they were just the period before. So again, the biggest thing is wearing the masks, sanitizing their hands as they walk into the classroom, having the windows open for our exterior rooms, having the air purifiers on, and really trying to make it as clean an environment as possible.
So, Mr. Fuchek, real quick, I do see that there is an error with the NYC Schools account. So I'm gonna ask them in the morning about it. So I'll send an email to Irving.
Okay. So we'll give you guys an update tomorrow on the school account, okay? But again, the school account was if you wanted to upload your consent or you wanted to type in your consent for COVID testing, you can always send your student in with the paper version. We'll also have paper versions. So on the first day of school, if anyone still needs it, we'll send it home so that you can send it back. But just, in order to attend school, if you're unvaccinated, they're saying the requirement is that you have to submit to the COVID testing. Now, I do want to just mention this, right? Because when we first started with the COVID testing, a lot of the kids were nervous. And I will tell you, me, Miss Malloy, Miss Kelly, we went down with the first batch of kids. I sat there in the auditorium. I let them stick that Q-tip up my nose. It was important that the kids saw that, this is how it is. And it really, after the first one or two, the kids were not, they really weren't, we had no kids that really had a panic attack or anything about getting the COVID tested. And even now, they don't even stick it up as far as they did before. Now they just kind of swab it on each nostril. So, but you do have to submit the COVID testing if your child is unvaccinated. If they're vaccinated and you put that in the portal, proof of vaccination, they won't have to get COVID testing unless you want it. I went every single time. Every time they were there, I went and got tested because I just wanted to know every week, but that's up to you.
I got a question.
Sure, go ahead.
My name is Kathy. I'm Raymond Zapata's mother. I got a question about the vaccination portal. I'm trying to get in and I can't figure it out.
All right. So I'm going to give you contact information for our counselors as well. One of the things I'm also, super proud of at Bronx River is I'm able with my budget to have 4 counselors. So it's 1 per cohort. So when your child comes in as a freshman, they have a counselor and that counselor stays with them all 4 years. What I tell my counselors is you have to know your kids inside and out. I hate when they get handed off each year and then it takes a while for the new counselor to get to know them and blah, blah, blah. I want it to be that's your babies from 9th grade to 12th grade. It's also how I hold my counselors accountable for the graduation rate. I make them very competitive against each other. But in any case, your counselor will be able to support you with the vaccine finder for sure. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Sure.
I'm the mother of Darius Israel.
Hi.
Hi. The account creation code. How do I get that to add him?
Miss Marrero. If you email Miss Marrero your name and your child's name, she can send you back the access code.
Okay.
So, Miss Israel, were you able to get into that right now?
I'm looking at it. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe it's just, there's a lot, it's the week before school starts. So a lot of people could be on the website, so maybe it's crashing. But if you just click on that website, Miss Kelly and Miss Malloy can put it in the chat. And then you just email Miss Marrero at Bronx River High School, or you can just email contact@Bronx River if it's easier for you to remember. And
actually, Miss Morrell's on the call, so I think she's been able to just direct message some parents on the call.
Okay. Yes, you put it in the chat. Okay.
Great.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Yes.
I saw somewhere in the chat that school starts at 8:15 and when's dismissal time?
If you're a freshman coming in, dismissal will be at 2. Sorry, I missed that.
Can you say that again, please?
Yeah, so school is 8:15 to 2:35. Period 1 is 8:15, period 8 is 1:48 to 2:35. So dismissals at 2:35 for freshmen through juniors. Once you get to be a senior and you have all your credits and you're in good shape for graduation, seniors get out earlier, but freshmen through juniors will be getting out 2:35.
Mr. Fuchek, I have a question.
Yes.
I want to be clear. If we've been vaccinated, does he still have to get COVID tested?
No. If the child is fully vaccinated, they don't have to get COVID testing.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, I have a question.
Yep.
Yes, so say my son is not vaccinated. Do they have to get tested every week?
Well, we have to test 10% of our school population each week. So, and what Miss Kelly does is we keep track of who's been tested each week, so we don't test the same kids over. So really 10% means really they're only going to be tested about once every 10 weeks, which is really 2 months. So, you know, it really would be about once every 2 months your child will get tested.
Okay, so when is the first test that they have to take in order to do classes, to start the classes for next week?
They don't have to take any tests to start classes. Once classes start on the 13th, which is a Monday, I would imagine they're not gonna do testing the first week. Miss Kelly, we didn't hear anything about testing the first week, right?
No, we haven't gotten an official start date of when it tests, but based on what happened in the fall and the summer, usually the first 1 or 2 weeks of school, they didn't do the testing in school yet, just so everyone can get in their consent forms, and then testing started week 3. So again, this is not like students have to go get tested and provide proof of a test. This is something that will happen in school. We randomly, pull 10% of students on the given day. They only tell us the day before. It's random for us too. They say, okay, we're testing, bring 18 students. So then we randomly select 18 students, bring them down to the cafeteria or the auditorium to get tested, and then they return to class. So it all takes place in the school. For unvaccinated students, you don't have to worry about anything outside of the school or proof of anything. You just provide your consent one time in the beginning, and then your student won't be called every time there's testing because it's only 10%. So if your student is called this week, they're not going to be called again for several weeks. We try to really rotate and get a random sample of our student body.
Okay, thank you so much. So I'll let Cornez McCollum.
Yep, all right.
Hi, I have another
Thank
question. Do we send a little card to school with them so y'all can have it on file?
I'm not 100% sure how the proof of vaccination is working yet. I know for us as educators, right? We were told 2 weeks ago that you had to be vaccinated if you were a worker at the DOE. So they sent us a link with a portal where we had to take a picture of our card and upload it to the portal. So I did that already. I believe that's probably what they're gonna do for you guys, for parents. Does anyone, Ms. Marrero or Ms. Kelly, Ms. Malloy, do we know?
Yes, and Ms. Malloy put the link to the vaccine portal. So basically there are 2 portals that you're working with. Either if the student is vaccinated, you're going to go to the vaccine portal to submit a picture of that little card. Now, a few people have written here that it wasn't accepting the picture of the card. That may be kind of a glitch. I know I tried to submit my card on the staff portal and it didn't accept my picture either. So try again on the vaccine portal. If the student is unvaccinated, then you're logging into the school's account to submit consent for testing. So either you're going to the vaccine portal to submit the proof of vaccine, or you're going to the school's account portal to submit consent for testing. And Ms. Malloy just dropped the vaccine portal again in the chat.
Obviously, folks, if you're really having issues with this, like it just seems like it's not working or it's not accepting whatever, you can always come in and we can help, right? We can sit down on my computer or one of my staff computers and we can do it all with you together or with the counselor, etc. Okay, you can always do that. Or you could take a picture and email it to the counselor and they could help you walk through it over the phone how to put it in. We'll work with you on all that. Any other questions in the chat?
I have a question. This is Yesenia Reyes. This is the mother of Julio and Adrian Valdez. You met them for the school round.
Yep.
One of my twins had a blank on, I think, 6th period.
Yeah, we took care of that. There was one. So That's a great question, actually. I'm glad you brought that up. So for some of you incoming freshman parents, we had a summer bridge at the beginning of August, and we gave the kids all of their schedule. So they have a schedule. There was one group of kids where there was a 6th period was missing, and that was just an issue where I missed one group in the scheduling program. But I do want to tell all of our freshman parents that we have since had to make some additional changes in programming. So the freshmen will be issued, 80% of the freshmen or 85% of the freshmen are going to have the same schedule they did have, but about 15% are going to have a change to their schedule, just meaning a different period for one of their classes. But we will be giving out new schedules on the first day of school. Okay.
What about the IDs?
Well, so we will do that on the first day of school as well. When all of our kids, so we had all of our freshmen invited to come in during August, and we took their pictures there. We had about, I think it was 60 out of 108 kids came in at that time. So those people will have all their IDs ready to go first thing Monday morning. The kids that we did not come in for summer bridge and didn't get their picture, we will take pictures that day, and they'll get their IDs by the next day.
Perfect.
And
Thank you.
Mr. Fichek, there's a lot of questions in the chat around phones and uniforms. Do you want to jump back to the slideshow to talk about that?
So I'm going to jump back to the slideshow because Miss Kelly will talk about that. So let me go share screen, and now I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. Oh, this didn't come out. Hold on. Let me fix this real quick. Okay, so you guys should see this now. These are the counselors, right? So class of 2022, our seniors, that counselor is Ms. White. Her email is mswhite@bronxriverhighschool.org. The class of 2023, which is Miss Santana, those are our rising juniors, Ms. Santana at Bronx River. Our rising sophomores is Ms. Evelyn and her email. And then our incoming freshman, your counselor is Mr. Almonte, and his email is Mr. Almonte at bronxriverhighschool.org. And as I said down here, we are currently searching for a parent coordinator, so please feel free to reach out to me if you know anybody. All right, so you guys have heard from our assistant principals. I have our assistant principal of student support services, which is Ms. Tanae Kelly, and then our assistant principal for teacher support services, which is Ms. Malloy. So Ms. Kelly does everything with our students, restorative justice, advisory, guidance, counseling. Ms. Malloy does everything with our teachers, teacher counseling. She does a lot of that. Professional development, all of that. But I'm going to turn it over to Miss Kelly, who's going to give you the kind of need to know stuff, answer some of those questions in the chat.
Thank you. Okay, so I know we hit some of the basics in the beginning, but a few people joined late. So school starts at 8:15. We dismiss at 2:35. If the student is an on-track senior, they may be dismissing earlier. We recommend, especially in the beginning, we are a scanning school, and especially in the beginning with everyone, 50% of the students in our building have never attended school in the building. So it's going to be a lot of learning in the first few weeks of school. We recommend getting to school no later than 7:45, just because there will be a line. There'll be some getting used to, where do I stand? Where do I go? Where do I put my phone? So we recommend getting there at 7:45. If you have the habit of getting there at 7:45, you'll start to see kind of where the traffic builds up and how early you really need to come based on your commute.
Don't put the cashier. Since my son's
Cell phones is a big question. So we are, our campus, our entire campus does not allow cell phones in the building. Prior to COVID, we used bubble bags where students would be issued a bubble bag. They would put their phone and their electronics in the bubble bag and leave it in a bin before they entered the building, and then they would pick it up at the end of the day. Because of COVID, we are trying to minimize excess contact, passing things back and forth. And so we contracted with a company called Yonder. This is the company that does, big events like celebrity weddings, concerts, where the artists don't want people recording their performance. So they use Yonder. So we were able to secure like a school contract with Yonder. And you're seeing a picture of a Yonder pouch. So instead of a bubble bag, every student will be given a Yonder pouch. They'll write their name on the back and they'll keep this pouch with them. They'll use it every day. They'll take it home with them. They'll bring it to school. And so they'll put their cell phone, if they have a watch or something else that fits inside. They'll close it. You'll see the middle picture is like a little pin. It snaps shut and then it's locked throughout the day. So students will keep their pouch with them, but it will be locked, so they won't have access to their phone during the school day. At the end of the school day, we have this third picture is a little unlocking base. Students can tap open their pouch and then have access to their phone. So this is for returning students, this is new. You will be carrying your cell phone with you, but you won't have access to it during the day. First day of school, I know there's a ton of stuff that's like, oh my gosh, when does all this happen? The way we set up the first day of school is that all of the schools in the building set up like a little station, a little tent on the front terrace before students walk in. All the Bronx River students will find the Bronx River tent, and we'll be distributing like all the information. Where do you go when you walk in the building? We'll be giving you a Yonder bag, so we'll show you how to use it right there, so you know how to do your cell phone. We'll answer any questions that you may have coming in right on the front terrace before you even walk into the building. We'll tell you what room to go to and where to report. Even like depending on the, what time you arrive. If you're waiting in a really long line, you're like, oh, it's second period. Am I supposed to go to first or second? We'll be able to answer all those questions right there before you walk into the building. Okay, and that's when you'll receive your cell phones. Once you're in the building, we'll be doing a few things. We'll be doing, these are a picture of the phone bins.
8:30.
In the event that you forget your Yonder pouch, we will still use like an envelope system where you can put your cell phone in the bin for that day. And then we'll check in with you. Like if your Yonder bag is broken, we'll replace it for you. But we will still have these in the event that you forget your Yonder pouch. Once you're inside the building, we're gonna give you a few things. We're gonna give you your a Metro card. We pass out all the Metro cards in your classes. We'll also be doing the ID photos. Anyone who already took an ID photo, your IDs will be printed already and we'll just pass it out to you on the first day. Anyone who didn't take an ID photo yet, we'll take your photo on the first day and then we'll print the cards from you hopefully by the second or third day. You will need an ID card, and not on the first day of school. We're not asking anyone to have an ID card because most students don't have an ID card on the first day. But after the first few days of school, students will actually use their ID card to swipe into the building when they arrive. This is very helpful, especially for parents that say, my child left the house at 7 o'clock in the morning. And we can say, your child never even scanned into the building. Or we can tell you, well, your child scanned into the building at 10:30. So that's really helpful piece of accountability for us, that we know who are all the students who arrived in the school building today. Whether, we take attendance inside the classroom, but sometimes, students have entered the building, but maybe they got lost, they didn't appear in class. We'll be able to use that. Uniforms. Tomorrow we have about 50% of students who have already ordered uniforms, and those are ready to go. So uniforms, you'll see in this picture, our school uniforms are, our basic uniform is a green polo. or a black hoodie. We have our kind of starter package, which is 3 green polos and a black hoodie. All 9th and 10th grade families, the school is gonna pay for your first starter set of uniforms. So you'll be receiving 3 green polos and a black hoodie for free as part of kind of our school's COVID relief for our families. Returning students, it's the exact same uniform as before. So everything you have that was uniform before will still be uniform moving forward. But if you would like to purchase, something new, you're more than welcome to purchase. Or if you'd like to purchase additional uniforms, you can. You'll see in this picture, there are people wearing a blue button down. That is a uniform shirt that's reserved for our 11th and 12th grade students are allowed to wear that blue button down. We'll also have different events and promotions where, we do kind of like a fan cloth where they're like, different designs and things like that are available for purchase that are kind of one-time only promotional items. And those will be considered uniform as well.
All right, we have a very patient young man who has raised his hand. I'm going to ask him to unmute and ask his question. Go ahead.
Okay, I have a question. I don't know if anybody wants to. When can we purchase the uniforms for the children?
Sure, we're starting tomorrow. Tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 1. So tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, next week, Thursday, Friday, you can come into the building anytime. You can just send your child in too. You don't have to come if you don't want to.
Okay, so Cornez, you gotta go in and get it.
Hi, Cornez.
I have a question.
Yes, question.
Is there school on Friday? Because I just saw on the list said the school schedule said Monday to Thursday. This is Marquise Hutchinson's mom.
Yeah, I know. The first day of school for kids is Monday, September 13th. But then there is another Jewish holiday, Yom Kippur, that Thursday. So the kids report to school Monday the 13th, Tuesday the 14th, Wednesday the 15th. Then we're off Thursday the 16th, and they report back on Friday the 17th.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, that's the first week of school.
Yeah, so I see Sammy's question here about uniform bottoms as well.
Yeah, talk about that.
Families purchase their own pants. So it's solid black or navy blue pants. For the black pants, they can be any kind of pants. They could be sweatpants, slacks, cargo pants. Black jeans are okay. If they have rips in them, that's okay. Just solid black on the bottom, not like stripes down the side or big logos or black and white. Just solid black on the bottom. Or navy blue, but not navy blue jeans. You could do navy blue slacks or skirt or something like that, but not blue jeans. But black jeans are okay. So that's for families to purchase on your own. There's no requirement for shoes. You can purchase, whatever shoes that your student wants to wear is fine. Okay, so like Mr. Fusek said, tomorrow, Thursday and Friday, we are available 9 to 1. We'll be doing uniform. Anyone who has already purchased or a 9th or 10th grade student who gave the size, they already told the school what size uniforms, those packages are already made and created, and we have a separate room for that. So when you arrive, you'll be going to a separate room where you can just pick up the package that you already ordered. It's packed and ready.
I got a question.
If you are 9th, let me just finish this point and then answer your question. If you are a 9th or 10th grade student, while we are providing one starter kit for free, we do need, the parent or the student to come in to try on the sizes and choose what size they are. So please also plan on participating in this as if you were purchasing a uniform, but you won't be charged for that first set.
What's your question, ma'am?
For the first day of school, do they need to bring the laptop with them, or they need like the whole.
No, they
supplies
don't
and
have to,
stuff.
I don't want anyone bringing any laptops or that. They should leave their stuff at home because we have, I will tell you, actually, another nice thing to say is, you know, we gave out like 300 laptops during this COVID operation, but I did get I got grants from politicians last year. I got one from Ruben Diaz. I got one from Mark Jonah. We were able to purchase all 300 laptops back. So we still have a full set of laptops for every classroom in Bronx River. So when they're in school, we will be providing a laptop. If they're working on a laptop that day in their class, they'll have access to it. They should leave any technology they have now at home.
Okay, thank you.
I don't want people on the subway or the bus with laptops. I don't want any of that. So,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
yeah. Yeah.
I do have a question about the busing.
Yep.
Do you guys know how is that going now for the new year?
Miss Malloy, so reach out to, if your child has busing on the IEP, Miss Malloy has
Yes.
already reached out to transportation to make sure they're working on that. And, you know, is your child an incoming freshman? Ma'am, I'm sorry, is your child an incoming freshman?
Yeah,
All
the
right,
twins.
So we are gonna work the best we can to try to make transportation, have that all in place. They're supposed to know that already from the IEP from middle school, but I gotta be honest with you, of all the departments at the DOE that I have the least faith in, it's transportation, because they always seem like they're messed up. But please email Miss Malloy, reach out with your child's name, and she'll try to work as best we can this week to make sure that they have them on a proper route and the whole thing, okay?
All right, thank you.
Can I have a quick question?
Sure.
Liam 16 can go in on his own to get his own starter pack, right?
Absolutely. Yep, no problem.
That Liam? Yeah, he's saying that I have to go with him. I don't need to hold his hand. Thank you.
Can't wait to see you again, Liam. All right. Any other questions, folks? I know we've been on a long time already, but you know, this is our time to ask any question you want to ask.
I have a question.
Sure.
I would like to know about the SATs, if they're gonna have them this year.
I'm sure they will have them. In fact, usually we do one SAT in March, but I believe I just got an email this week that said they're going to have 3 so that they can even make up for kids that should have taken it last year. But, you know, the way that it works in the city at Bronx River is we have all of our juniors sit to take the SAT in March of their junior year, and we pay for it. It's no cost to the family, and it's during the school day.
We
Okay.
will also have a senior SAT school day, October 28th. Don't confirm, I don't have my planner in front of me, but I'm pretty sure it's
No,
October
that helped me even more because my daughter's a senior, so I appreciate the answer.
Right.
Yeah,
So if they didn't take it
I'm like-
last year because of COVID, they'll be taking it in October.
And even if they did take it and they want to take it again, they're eligible to take it SAT school day in October for seniors, and then we'll have March 23rd is the junior date for SAT.
All right. And my daughter also wanted to know about lockers. They were having lockers still and all that.
Yep, we still have lockers. It's $10 rental. They give $10, they get a locker, and then they get the $10 back at the end of the year. So when she comes in, she can get a locker, no problem.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Oh, no problem. Thank you, sir. All right, guys.
I have a question.
Yeah, all right. Let's take the last couple questions.
Yeah, so my brother already got fitted for the uniforms. Do I still need to come with him to get tested for uniforms, or just send him to go get it himself?
He can just get it himself.
Okay,
No problem.
thank you.
Yep. Anything else in the chat? All right, well, as always, feel free, email me, email the counselor, email any of the assistant principals. We'll get back to you right away if you have any questions that we missed.
I'm
But
sorry, I have a quick question.
sure.
What if my son is not available to pick it up tomorrow? Could he come another day?
Yeah, we'll be in the office this Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and next week, Thursday, Friday. And then even if he has, even if it's the first day or two of school, we'll work it out as well.
Okay,
All right?
thank you so much.
No problem. All right, folks, have a wonderful evening. Stay healthy, stay safe. And I am really, really genuinely looking forward to starting school. So feel free to reach out with anything, okay?
Okay.
All right, take
Well,
care.
good night.
everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
How do I stop recording? Okay.